I'm going to ask for it. That was amazing. So, I mean, that you do the best Ed Sullivan impersonation I've ever heard.
Okay, no, I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. Show the people out there in YouTube land. Give them your best Ed Sullivan. First of all, does anybody know who Ed
They
Sullivan
don't
is?
even know who Ed Sullivan is.
Well, you're going to show them right now. Go ahead.
My brother and I used to laugh over the acts that Ed Sullivan had. You know, look, he had headliners like the Beatles. He had.
Oh, well, he had big time. But, John, he was so serious. He was so buttoned up. And then he'd introduce an act, like you just said, which was
right. You would go from the Beatles to, and now, after our next station break from Pillsbury, we'd like to introduce Economachus Antoninakis and his dish spinning monkeys. And then, and there's this guy putting up dowels and poles, and he's spinning these dishes, and they're staying up there, and the monkeys are running around.
Now, listen, you can make light of that dish spinning monkey, but you know that's 10,000 hours. They said you can't be proficient in anything until you do 10,000 hours. So you know that poor bastard spent 10,000 hours. Think of the arguments he had with those monkeys. For the love of Pete, you son of a bitch,
Right.
spin the damn
How many
dish.
dishes am I going to go through?
I know, and the poor monkey's like, what the fuck? I'd rather be out in the jungle somewhere.
Right. Don't you have a tricycle for me to ride?
Yeah, do something
Or a
simple.
cigarette for me to smoke?
But that's what made Ed Sullivan, I think. I mean, how long was he on TV? 100 years? I mean, he was so serious, you know, the tie, the jacket, and then he'd bring out these.
Well, you know what's interesting? I wonder what present-day network executives would say. We kind of know what they would say, right? But what would they say about the plausibility of bringing back an old-time variety show like Ed Sullivan? But you got to mix up the agenda with.
Don't say politics.
No. You know, somebody who can hold their breath for 5 minutes underwater, right, on camera, and everybody's holding their breath watching him, and then, you know, and then he makes the buzzer, or he doesn't make it, because I've seen people say they're going to do something on Ed Sullivan, because I think a lot of it was live from New York,
yeah.
you know, and they didn't make it, and it's
Ed
like,
Sullivan
well, better
Theater.
luck next time,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow. How about?
And then a headliner. Give me a head
Beatles,
off the top of your,
the Beatles.
But today, give me off the top of your head, what headliner today would make people? But if they were live, who? Pick any.
Well, I'm
headliner.
a country western guy, so you figure what? Keith Urban, somebody like that.
Okay, or
Somebody
the other
country.
day we mentioned Conway West, and I almost said Conway Twitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, so someone who's going to hold their breath under the water for 5 minutes, immediately followed by Kanye West with Kim Kardashian, not for a half an hour chat, but for like a song, 2 songs, then a chat, then maybe a third song, and then we'll have that guy, Jeff something, who's got the terrorist puppet. Right? He's perfect for a variety show. And then they'll have a new comic, right? Yeah. Kind of like a George Carlin-esque, a new comic, not somebody that we know and love, not Dave Chappelle, new comic.
We have to do a countdown. Yesterday we forgot to do a countdown. Let's do a countdown and an introduction, and we're going to jump right back into this.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
For a countdown. 5,
do it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Jersey Alchemist, and I'm your host, Dr. John Gerard Gallucci.
I can't help it. I love when you say that. And I'm Philip D'Angelo.
Yes,
everything is good. So now listen, Ed Sullivan was great, but there was like a knockoff show. I used to love the Gong Show.
Well, that was years later.
Yeah, but it was a knockoff because nobody had done that kind of show.
Who was it? Was it Chuck Barris?
Chuck Barris.
Yeah.
Who was also wrote some songs in the 60s that were hits.
Palisades Park.
Yeah. But it was so silly. I mean, it was like definitely like where some people try to be serious. I mean, Chuck Barris it was nothing but fun from start to finish. Gene, the dancing machine.
Didn't they have the unknown comic?
The
Did you say
unknown
that?
comic.
Right?
Oh, how
The
funny!
unknown comic was a comic with a paper bag over its head.
How funny was that? I mean, and guess what? Nobody cursed. Nobody said any dirty stories. It was just fun.
In that era, the variety shows and the comedy shows and remember the panel shows, right? Panels. They would always pull out of mothballs.
Yes.
Not Jake LaMotta.
Rocky.
Tony
Rocky Graziano.
Rocky
He was
Graziano.
always on the show. He made the circuit. He made the circuit. Yeah.
Right.
How
It's
about
like, what's this guy doing?
How about
here?
What's My Line? That was
Oh,
a good
sure.
one, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was
Yeah.
blindfolded, and you had to ask questions, and he'd come in and he'd sign out, and you see.
Truth or Consequences? Remember?
Oh, Truth or Consequences. How about the Newlywed Game? That was a lot of fun.
That was good. That was
a lot of fun.
That was
right?
fun. But they were really, really making fun of how stupid some of those newlyweds were.
Well, yeah, it was reality though.
Yeah.
They really didn't know each other.
What was the host's name? Was it Bob something?
Peter Marshall was a host. Gene Rayburn was a host of something
The
else.
Match Game. Gene Rayburn was the Match
Gene
Game.
Rayburn, Match Game was great.
Right.
Yeah, Gene Rayburn. I don't know. Richard Dawson, was he the host? Of
Alan Ludden.
Alan Ludden.
Was
Password.
Was Betty White's husband.
Yeah,
Right,
and
that
he was on Password.
Hollywood Squares.
He'd whisper the word.
Remember? Can you name the people in Hollywood Squares that sat? The people that usually were there.
Center Square. Come on, it was Paul Lynn.
Yeah. Remember Wally Cox?
Wally Cox. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And who was the guy with the belly and the suspenders? Charlie Weaver.
Charlie Weaver.
Right.
Wow. You're going way back with these shows, but John, they were all
Something. Who was the Center Square guy? Paul Lynn?
Paul Lynn.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Then there was that other
Wally
guy.
Cox.
Wally Cox. The other guy with John something with that big waft of hair. He was a good-looking kind of leading man that was always in like B comedies. Can't remember his name.
There was so many. All good television. You'd come home from school,
Yeah.
or if you were home sick, and you'd watch that and you'd laugh. Even as kids, you knew it was just fun. You know,
Right,
it was
right.
adult humor mixed with innocence, and you know what?
It was always the adult humor
Yes,
embedded. So was there in
yes.
Bugs Bunny too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just lost. The talent level of all those people there were lost. They made now there was probably a lot of people looking for work, sitting on those shows, actors, right?
Right.
You know, like Jack Klugman's wife was on there. I forget.
Oh yeah.
She had that real deep voice.
I can
I've
see
never
her
seen
face,
her.
but I don't
Yeah,
know her
I've
name.
never seen her in anything except that show. But yet she was
Right.
that. So it made you feel like these people, like they were so important to be there. Yet 9 times out of 10, they probably had nowhere else to go. Right?
Right.
I mean, come on, who's got time to be?
And who? Man, I never missed an episode of The Odd Couple. Wow.
The Odd Couple. Yeah.
Never missed an episode.
Come on, Jack Klug. Talk about casting.
Right.
I mean, come on. Can you get better than that? Jack Klugman, Tony Randall. You know,
Yeah.
it was just amazing.
The guy who was Murray the cop was the proprietor in Happy Days, the
Yeah,
diner.
Arnold.
Right?
Yeah.
What was
yeah.
his name? Al Molinaro?
Al Molinaro. Sure, sure. Well, how do we remember that, right?
That's 'cause
Well, we saw it
we
100
spent-
times.
We
Al
spent
Molinaro.
way too much time in front of the television as kids.
Yeah. But you know what? It was innocent then. You know, we weren't being brainwashed. We weren't being,
Well,
transitioned
I
to think a
don't-
certain way about
I don't
anything.
know. I think in a sense we were. I think we were the first few steps, the first few rungs of the ladder. I think today the brainwashing is horrible, but they had to start somewhere, and I think they started with television in the 50s, because before that, really, there wasn't, who had a TV in the night? When did the first TV come out? I don't know. 50s, I think, right?
No, before then, didn't they? 50s?
I don't know.
Maybe the 50s? I don't know.
I don't know.
Interesting. But just think, John, how things have changed. I mean, listen, there was only, we always say it all the time, 11 channels, plus the Spanish station, plus PBS was on there, Channel 13.
Yeah.
And you could always find something to watch instantly, whether it was a Honeymooners rerun or some new, some new special that was on.
Red Skeleton, Carol Burnett.
All
And
of
they were iconic. They really
And
were.
now we have over 100 stations,
Yeah.
and I just constantly go like this, like seriously, like
Yeah.
no,
It's
no.
easily 100 stations.
Oh, 100%.
Easily,
Yeah.
And then there were the variety shows that were that were granted to, you know, singer, songwriter, musicians. Like Glenn Campbell had his own show. I think Johnny Cash had his own show.
Oh yeah, Sonny and Cher.
So they were great.
The Jackie
Yeah.
Gleason show. Jackie Gleason. I mean,
show.
all of
Live
them.
from Miami. Yep.
Yeah,
How
they just,
sweet it is.
They just got you fired up. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
they
it was
did.
amazing. And
Those were the golden years
they were.
of television.
Yes.
Right?
And you left feeling good after you watched something. You weren't depressed. Like, I'll tell you what, you know what everybody watches now? These shows where they break down the murder of somebody.
You mean like America's Most Wanted, that kind of thing?
No,
Or
no.
American Psychopath?
Yeah. This week's episode, Johnny and his family get, what I mean Johnny,
Yeah,
Bobby and his
right,
family get
right.
dismembered.
Yeah.
And you get to watch it all. I
Right.
mean, now it's you leaving like, oh my God, this is gruesome. All right, so the guy either got away or he's in jail for life. Oh wow, I really needed to know
What about
how
when
he did it and why.
What about when they do a marathon of one of those shows? They'll take you right to the punchline at the end, and then the voiceover artist doesn't even take a breath, and he starts going, but on February 2nd of 1968, in the small town in New Hampshire, blah, blah, blah. Now you're into a different story.
Yeah,
You're hooked.
yeah.
Now it's hour number 2.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there was never any dark TV like that. Now it's like, it's dark. I mean, there's these episodes of television that you're like, whoa, did I really? Look at the movies. Every movie is, you know, it used to be just on Halloween, we saw a slasher film. It was Halloween, right? Or something like that. Or Friday the 13th, right? Now
Right.
they're 12 months out of the year. Oh, you
Yeah.
get to see this, you know, the undead. And
Well,
this and
that's
that.
because the film industry is run by, as my grandmother would say, hooers, not whores, hooers.
2 syllables.
They're hooers. Yeah, they are, and they'll put anything up on a screen. It doesn't matter how shitty it is or how degrading to the human energy field. As long as those motherfuckers can be making money off of it, they just don't care. It's kind of like putting formaldehyde on a salad.
Which they do. Which they do.
Right.
Don't eat salad out of a vending machine. It's loaded with formaldehyde.
Right. Now
That's
we're
a
gonna
fact.
now we're gonna get letters, hate mail from all of the
Vendors.
vendors.
You SOB? Yeah. That's crazy.
I only put a little formaldehyde in my salad. How dare you denigrating my product?
But John, we've discussed this in a real early episode. How society, the demographics and the what's the word I'm looking for? Just the attitude of society in general really dictates what kind of movies are made, what kind of TV shows are made. I mean, we're so dark right now as a society.
Right.
We're so godless.
Yeah.
We're so family-less.
Are you suggesting that the collective consciousness,
That's
or the
right.
collective ego of a society creates the means and the ways of the society? Is that what you're saying?
In a word, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's
Well,
what.
it's true.
And they feed each other. You know, the darkness of society. You know, they want to see that substance that's evil and murder and darkness and
Mhm.
you know the family splits up and Johnny's locked in a closet and
Right.
you know I keep using
So-
Johnny as an
it's
example. I'm so
okay,
sorry.
I'm right here. I'm
Yeah,
right here.
I don't mean
know,
that.
It's okay.
It's
it's
always
all
my
right.
go-to when I
Kick
talk
me
about it.
around. It's all right.
But there's always like something like that. I mean, it's horrible, you know.
So let's take that notion of like, for any of the viewers, if you or listeners on Spotify or whatnot or Amazon Music, if you think that a particular entity or construct's vibratory frequency, inherent frequency, if you think it doesn't affect you, it does. And back in, I don't know how long ago, don't know if it was the 1930s, but the Rockefeller Foundation, here we go again. Those motherfuckers, right? The Rockefeller Foundation pushed worldwide for musicians and orchestras all over the planet to co-opt the base frequency of tuning to 440 hertz. That's why if you have an auto tuner for your piano or your guitar and you turn it on, it says 440 HC, 440 hertz. And 440 hertz is supposed to be deleterious to the elevation of your energy field. And really it's supposed to be, you know, I've heard all sorts of stuff. It's all over YouTube that other frequencies are healing and they're enlightening and they're ingratiating. But 440 is supposed to be apparently something that just brings you down, even if the song is written to be upbeat. That's a really interesting concept. Now, you talked about darkness in TV programming and Hollywood movies and the terrible music industry and all of these stupid people, what, you know, their little satanic hand gestures and covering the one eye, which is supposed to be the jinn or Satan or some faction thereof. I mean, it's right in your face. They're not hiding it anymore. It's all about frequency, people. And if you think that the lowlifes aren't controlling human existence, you either have opposition defiance disorder, where you just refuse, or cognitive dissonance, or you just don't give a shit. You think it's all poppycock. It's not poppycock. And you know something? I'm sick and tired of Hollywood and television, and especially the music industry, playing all sorts of dark, esoteric, spiritually murdering games with the population and the energy field of humanity. Yeah, you heard me. I said that correctly.
John, I think it goes back to what you've said in prior podcasts. You used Bob Dylan, Lady Gaga as examples.
Yeah.
They want that hunger for fame and fortune is so great
Yeah.
that they will sell out
Yeah.
to the dark side
Yeah.
just to get that contract,
Right.
to get famous, to
Right.
get that money,
Yep.
and
And then they think that somehow or another they're going to slip and wriggle out of it, you know, after they're very, very wealthy and famous. And I don't know if that's possible. I think it's kind of like doing the old blood oath, you know, when you're being made in the mob, you know, you cut your finger and you stick it on the other guy's finger, and it's, I don't know if they do it under a full moon or not, but, you know, it's really serious stuff. And the general public is generally ignorant. They're stupid. They're deaf, dumb, and blind to the ways, the esoteric ways of the cabal. The cabal is hiding in plain sight, and everything that's gone wrong with humanity is coming from them.
John, how come the dark side has so much power and influence in higher up positions? Why isn't there anybody who's, you know, sheds light onto darkness in a higher up position? Where are those people?
Right, but if you peel the layers of that onion, I think the answer is God-loving. I don't like the term God-fearing. I don't fear God. As a matter of fact, there was a meme going around that was apparently very, very, very old, like 1,000 years old, and I think it was Saint Gregory. Maybe Saint Gregory, either Saint Gregory or Saint Antonius or something, an old ancient saint, and he had a scroll up, and it was one of those, like, you know, Orthodox Christian paintings, like an icon with the, you know, the halo around his head, and he says, you know, I no longer fear God, I love him. You know, and that hit me profoundly, because everybody says, you must fear God. I'm sorry, guys. Call me a heretic. And I've been called a heretic before. Why would I fear God? Why would I fear God? God is our higher self. We are all fractals of God. All of us. Well, maybe not the dark types that are dragging humanity to hell in a handbasket, but everybody else is a fractal of the Creator, and our job here is to push down and push away and extinguish the darkness and bring humanity into the light and love of God.
Wouldn't the dark side fear God? I mean, because they're doing Lucifer, Satan's work.
I think there's.
So I think
it's
the fear
called,
of God
yeah,
might be for them.
right. It's fear, and then hate comes from fear. But
If you're doing the right thing in life, there's no reason, like you do, there's no reason to fear God.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
And but you say, well, how is it that they get to such high, powerful places, and where are the good people?
Yeah.
Good people that are God-loving, godly people. And I'm not talking about people who go around with this coerced, stupid smile on their faces and say, "Amen, brothers and sisters, and praise God." That's a little bit weird, right? Okay, God bless those people, but those people generally, good people, seriously good, solid people, are not the kind of people that if they can't have their way with you, will devise your murder. The dark side will kill you. Look at all those people that are dead that opposed a certain politician, right?
Books were written about that.
Books were written about, who killed Seth Rich? Who was he speaking out against? Right? Who killed Anthony Bourdain? Did he really hang himself? I don't think so. I don't think so. Who killed Joan Rivers? Right? What? Right? Oh, what did she say as she was entering some kind of facility up the steps through the glass doors?
Do your research on that one.
Do the research. Find that video, unless it's been destroyed, about the words of Joan Rivers just days before she was murdered.
How about Malcolm X? Malcolm X.
Tell the story.
Well, Malcolm X was, out there on the stoop, and he was definitely talking, getting his word and his vision out there. You don't even have to be a Malcolm X fan, and he spoke out against the white Democrat liberal. 3 words. You can't have 2 of the words: white Democrat, Democrat liberal. The white Democrat liberal. I mean, a scathing speech. He attacked them. They're no good for the African American community. 2 days later, he was shot.
Oh, wow.
2 days.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
2 days. That's a fact. I mean,
wow.
Do you believe in coincidences? I don't
know.
No,
I don't. No, I don't. But I would say that just to keep things straight and fair and evenly balanced here.
We have to be balanced.
Right. 9/11 would not have happened without the Bush crew and Dickhead Cheney. You heard me right, Dickhead Cheney. Right, but see, now the left and the Democrats don't know how they feel anymore about Dickhead Cheney because of his dickhead daughter. So they're on both sides of the coin. So if you think yay Democrats, you're a fool. If you think yay Republicans, you're an idiot.
Don't fall for that.
Don't fall for the divisive game of American politics and the American political process. That was a course I took in college because I thought I wanted to become a lawyer. After that course, I said, fuck no. No, 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 no.
Listen, the most powerful, in my opinion, John, the most powerful group of people on the planet is the American middle class. Okay? We have the numbers. You have the power, if the voting's legitimate, to put take out, that's right, any politician you want, to make a stand as you want. So what they try and do, in my opinion, is separate the black against the white, the Jew against the Gentile, the straight against the gay, the man against the woman, the parent against the child. I mean, the teacher against every student.
Every crisis that they create.
That's right.
And they don't let a crisis go to waste. So every single mass shooting that you've heard about, they may truly have happened, but it wasn't without lots of forethought and direct planning from certain intel services so that they can turn around and do the bidding of the assholes that want to strip you of your guns. Let me tell you what. Woe to the American politician fool that actually gives a speech like that fucking douchebag Castro Trudeau north of the border in Canada You'll never buy a handgun in Canada. Never.
Yeah.
Right, because you probably packed them all up your own ass, you fucking douchebag.
Now that's some trick. But John, so don't let them separate us.
Canadians, are you listening? You listening to me? You don't have to like me. I don't really give a shit how you feel about me. But will you please, 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 please come out into the sunlight, breathe some fresh Canadian air.
It is crisp.
Take a nice cool drink of fresh Canadian mountain spring water and drive Justin Castro Trudeau, drive him out of your country. Send him back to Cuba, where his father's sperm came from, because that's who he is. And all you got to do is look up the pictures and compare and contrast them and know that his mother had an affair with Fidel Castro, and you're like, oh my God, evil has genetic legacy about it. That's not a joke.
Don't let them separate you. Right, John?
Yeah.
Stay together. There are strengths in number. Always question what you're being told. Do your research. Don't be lazy. Do your research. John's always telling you, look on YouTube, look for this video, look for that video. It's all out there.
Right. Now, YouTube, we all know, is censored, but it's still a better platform than the other platforms that are out there.
That's right.
YouTube is still the best, the broadest place to go for information. Now, let's get to the Indians. Gotta love India, and the Indian people.
Yes.
Listen, talk about throwing people out of your country. I don't think you should throw Bill Gates out of your country. I think you should go and grab him and extradite him from wherever he's hiding and drag him back to India and put him on trial and stick him in a prison for the rest of his life. Who the fuck is he to be doling out terrible medications that have maimed and killed thousands of Indian people? Would you wake up? Come on. What do I have to do? Provoke you? If Gates hasn't provoked you enough, nobody will provoke you. Gates is an evil motherfucker.
Is he the one that's buying all that farmland?
I did it already, apparently.
How many acres, John?
Apparently 400 million plus choice acres in the United States of farmland. Well, why is that? Why is he gonna be harboring insect farms so that he can grow trillions of insects and then make burger patties out of them and feed them to the useless eaters, which will be us if we're still alive?
What would be the purpose of buying so many acres?
But, you know,
it can't be for a good reason.
I keep going back to the notion of torches and pitchforks and stonings. If we can't rein in these evil son of a bitches, man, I'm all in on the pitchforks, the torches, and the stonings. Count me in.
That's called bringing it back old school.
Yeah, old school. That's right.
Real old school.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that, John. Let's hope that, cooler heads prevail. We find out what these people, they expose themselves. See, like we talked about the other day, you have to expose light to all this darkness. Like, somebody should really do research and ask that person, like, why are you buying all this land? What is your goal? What is your purpose? Expose him. Let him either bullshit or tell the truth, what his real plans are.
Well, right, okay. But when we know that the entire legal system, as far as I'm concerned, is corrupt to certain degrees, and money talks and bullshit walks, right?
Amen.
Then someone like douchebag Bill Gates, all of a sudden, he's horning in on a pandemic. Who the fuck are you, Bill Gates, to be horning in on a pandemic? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck is Klaus Schwab to be horning in on a pandemic? Even if Tony Fauci, the NIH, with the Wuhan lab were the ones that created the virus. Who the fuck are you to speak and control the rest of the population of humanity? You know something? This is the message in the movie A Bug's Life was abundantly clear. Abundantly clear. When the ants stand up against Hopper and his goons, it's not going to be pretty.
John,
Hopper and his goons will be torn limb from limb.
John, do you know there's more people on the earth, in the world, today, being ruled by dictatorships than there are free civilians, free people on this earth? Did you know that?
Yeah,
I don't know what the exact number is,
I don't know the number, but I know that.
but it's like 2 to 1.
I think it's even more than that.
3 to 1 maybe?
I don't know, but that just tells us that humanity's not there yet. We are just not there yet. I mean, if a population can't reasonably govern itself without some horrible, murderous, lecherous family, royalty, lineage controlling you, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And there is no such thing as American royalty. People like to say, "Oh, it's the Kennedys." No, it's not. The Kennedys have a generational familial curse upon them. They do. Is it the Bushes? No. The Bushes, the Bushes are not American royalty. There is no American royalty. Maybe you'll find American royalty somewhere on a reservation somewhere.
Amen. John, if you had to alchemize this episode, how would you do it?
Well, I think it's not going to be too different than the other attempts at alchemizing the other episodes. It's just, Lord, let people wake up. We're here to help nudge humanity closer to God's river of love and light. If that sounds redundant, so be it. So be it. There is one creator. I agree there's many deities, but people, remember you are a fractal, which is a complete small piece of the creator of the universe. You're not lacking. Humanity is lacking in its individual aspects and in its collective humanity. We are here, incarnate on this third dimensional planet to help move humanity away from the low vibratory sixth state of present being through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension. That's not a joke. Believe it, people. Use your consciousness to create a better world. Amen.
Amen. John, as usual, thank you for the episode. Another great job.
Thank you, Phil.
If you like what we're doing on the Jersey Alchemist, please follow, like, and
subscribe.
Australia, we see you out there. Thank you for watching.
Australia, you're stuck at low numbers, man. Come on.
Share the love.
Come on, Ricardo Bossi. Shake them up. Let's go.
Till we see you again next time. Peace.